C2 Wrestling Podcast is back. The boys are back together. Busy as can be.
Mm,
I'm clearly not home.
mm-mm.
It's been a busy week slash weekend. Busy upcoming days for me. But all the good stuff as I knock over my water can wait until I know Snowden. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm not doing too bad, A little bit of a bum day, nothing too crazy. We'll film a podcast, talk some wrestling. But I do got to start off this podcast with three words for you. Fly, Eagles, fly. How
God
are
damn
you doing?
right. Let me just hold on a second. Let me just kick the feet up. Let me talk to you. We were in attendance at WrestleMania 40.
Correct.
Cody Rhodes finishing the story. Cody Rhodes last year stamping the Eagles as his team to finish their story. And let's just say WrestleMania 39 was Super Bowl 57.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Royal Rumble slash Cody's decision was Super Bowl 58.
Okay, yeah.
Eagles fans in a low blew the season. But boy, oh boy, Super Bowl 59 was WrestleMania 40, baby.
Yeah. I feel like I'm not an Eagles fan. I do root for the Eagles. They're kind of like the secondary team of mine. But as an Eagles fan, like you could just end football, to be honest. That could be the end of football. High note.
Oh, man, it is. Put it this way, WrestleMania 40, we say all the time, the best weekend of
Yeah, of
my
my
life.
life. Yeah.
Super Bowl 59, the best night of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. As a Steelers fan, I would do anything to see a Steelers Super Bowl win in person. The nervousness of if they're going to win, if they're not going to win, would be through the roof. But man, that win, elated. That's the feeling. That's just got to be nuts to see.
Yeah, and look, we'll get into the wrestling in a minute. We all know we banter in the beginning anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The feeling, now I don't want to say the same because obviously sports are different than wrestling, but similar to going into WrestleMania 40, where we were like, before the tag match, there's that bit of anxiousness. Like,
Yeah.
man, are they gonna have Cody lose again?
Is
Like,
Roman going to win?
like it was not impossible. I mean, it definitely was more so 39 that you had that feeling. It is very similar in the Super Bowl. Going in, spending all that money for the trip, and you're like, man, as someone who's done it twice, and the
Yeah.
first one is a failure, I can tell you the money sure is worth it when they win. It don't feel worth it when they lose.
Yeah.
But it was the same exact feeling, that I would probably equate almost like for like, one for one, the out of body excitement experience. Two moments, one from WrestleMania 40, one from the Super Bowl. Cooper DeJean's pick six,
Yep. Incredible.
almost the exact same feeling of elation as when Undertaker's gong hit.
Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely see that. That Cooper DeJean interception was insane. Nobody expected it. Nobody expected that gong hit in at WrestleMania 42. Maybe we thought some glass might break, but that gong hit was something special. Speaking of The Undertaker, did you get to meet The Undertaker? Did you just sit next to Vinnie Mac, to Shane McMahon? It's a few wrestlers in
Yeah.
attendance there,
Tony
too.
Khan was there. Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't mention this. I believe I texted you.
Yep.
I did meet.
Hurrah, 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 hurrah.
I did meet Titus O'Neil. It was right at the bottom of escalators, like in
Mm-hmm.
the first level. I was going to the escalators and he was walking by. I probably could ask for a picture, but that's like a very crammed area.
Yeah.
Ton of people around. That spot too isn't very spacious. And he also had that look of like, when you enter a stadium or an arena and you're like, where the fuck am I going? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
he had like that look, but like, And so, he's sees me, he recognizes me. He's like, "You're CTD from the C2 Wrestling podcast. You're from C2 Wrestling." I was like, Titus, shh, keep down,
Yeah, yeah. I don't want them. I don't
keep
want them
down.
crowding here.
Yeah.
All right.
But no, we made the eye contact, and I am sure plenty of wrestlers, when they make eye contact with wrestling fans, they can tell the difference between someone who looks at them like Titus O'Neil's a huge guy.
Yeah, yeah,
I am positive he knows the difference of, oh my God, that's a big guy, compared to, oh my God, it's Titus O'Neil. Like
yeah.
that difference. So gave him the fist pound. He was super nice. So many celebrities. I mean, I know it's the Super
Super
Bowl,
Bowl. Yeah,
but it's the same thing as WrestleMania. If you go to WrestleMania and you're walking around, even, if you're in the floor seat area or whatever, you're gonna meet, this past year, Drewski, Vanessa
yeah.
Hudgens, George Kittle. They're all these athletes and celebrities. So it was the same thing at the Super Bowl. Walked by Brendan Fraser, who like had the look of like the nicest, most innocent man I've ever seen in my life. Just like all athletes and celebrities. And this is a wrestling podcast, but there is like very similar aspects to the Super Bowl as there is to WrestleMania, because we say, you know, WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of wrestling. We say the Super Bowl is
The
the
Super
WrestleMania
Bowl
of the
is the
NFL season.
WrestleMania of football. Yeah, yeah. It is crazy. Those are, wrestling is obviously one of the biggest things in the world, really, but it's a very niche community in a way. Like you're in it or you're not in it, kind of. You don't have to watch football to really kind of understand how big football is and how big the Super Bowl is. But WrestleMania as a whole, man, like that is the biggest event of the year right there with the Super Bowl. You got other series, other sports where, the World Series is spread across over X amount of games and things like that. Mania being 2 nights now, don't get me wrong, but, WrestleMania and the Super Bowl, I don't know if there's two bigger events. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I know this Super Bowl was the most watched, I believe, which
Mm.
it feels like, I know
I feel like they
Earth.
say that every year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know Earth's population keeps growing, but it's the
Yeah.
same as WrestleMania. Honestly, it's the same with most of these wrestling shows. Like the Royal Rumble that just happened, it was like
Mm-hmm.
the most viewed, the most attended. Very similar NFL and WWE, where it just feels like every big show breaks a record of the last big show. So, yeah, unreal experience, unreal weekend. You know, Definitely scoped out the Superdome as to,
Mm-hmm.
this soon WrestleMania location seems to be again.
Well, so that leads me to ask actually, because you were there, New Orleans. 30, WrestleMania 30, some solid moments, don't get me wrong. WrestleMania 34, not great. It's not really necessarily even those two events, but I'm not crazy on WrestleMania being in New Orleans. I don't know. Something about it doesn't quite draw me in, but you were there. You can attest a little bit more to the area and how it would maybe go.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The the good thing I'll say is we sat up in the upper levels, of
Mhm.
course, because
Yeah.
it's already expensive to get in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I sent you a picture of my seats. I posted my seats. That was an upper level seat, and
Hmm.
honestly, like,
Incredible view.
it was a great view. A wrestling ring's obviously different than a football field. Um,
Yeah.
but when we were at the link, we sat up top, and it honestly wasn't that bad of a view.
Yeah.
I feel like the link looked a lot bigger sitting up top compared to the Superdome. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
if we had similar seats, it's a better view in there compared to the link. Uh, the control of the weather also is nice, but I know we're kind of on the same page with this. An indoor mega show, just, it doesn't have the same hit to me. I don't know what it
I
is.
agree.
Like, and
It's not the same.
it's not the same. And what's funny is it goes even less for the argument with how on all these outdoor events, well, not outdoor, all these like stadium events, they're doing smaller stages. You would think
Hmm.
like when we went to Mania 33, you get this
Yep.
elaborate stage. Like, you're not getting that stage indoors.
We haven't really gotten a stage like that since Mania 33.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess the next one's probably 39, which was a
Yeah.
massive
Yeah. It's pretty big.
stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big but not like as extravagant as
Outdoors, though.
33. Exactly, outdoors. This one, like, I'm very interested how Vegas is going to look because obviously that's
Me too.
indoors as well. I just feel, Vegas obviously is going to be big. It just feels not as much of a spectacle when it's indoors. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is. And then the
You know,
Super Bowl is the opposite. Super Bowl has to be indoors, can't be outdoors.
see, I'm a little indifferent even on the Super Bowl. I kind of like the elements being part of the game in football. I feel like that's a big part of the sport for the entire season up until the Super Bowl. So I kind of like the idea of, a cold Super Bowl. I think that would be interesting to see. But, WrestleMania, honestly, if they're going to do a WrestleMania indoors, like they would never do this. They're never going back. But I'd almost rather be in an arena, pack that shit tight and do an old school WrestleMania in an arena. Again, Lincoln Financial, big, very big. Superdome, very big. Vegas, very big. Arena's not that big, so they'll probably never go back to that route. Now, I do got to ask, actually, though, it's kind of on the same topic. Does the Superdome cheesesteak compare to the Lincoln Financial cheesesteak?
I did not have a cheesesteak. Funny enough, I got in, I had a cheeky little hot dog.
Some
Uh,
British.
you know, you just had to get something in the stomach. Actually, well, I had Waffle House earlier.
Mm,
Um, had a cheeky little hot dog. Wasn't really that hungry.
mm,
Halftime was about to hit, and I got the anxious nerves, need to stress eat.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Get me some chicken fingers, get me some French fries.
yeah.
Had that. On the topic though of domes, stadiums, and Philadelphia, I don't know how tapped into it you are, but being an Eagles fan, obviously I'm
Mm,
in the loop. We're far away from it, but it is seeming all signs are pointing towards Philadelphia building a dome stadium.
mm-hmm.
That seems to be the Eagles owner, Jeffrey Lurie, one of, if not the best owner in football. Um, he recently sold some of the team, and there was rumors that he apparently, because he's from the Boston area, there was rumors that he was going to try to buy the Celtics, which didn't really buy much into. Well, he shot that down, and what he didn't shoot down was, is this more so for building a new stadium with a dome? Because they have mentioned many times how the link is great, but not having the dome is, it is a factor.
Yeah,
WrestleMania was freezing.
yeah,
Night one, it was cold. If
yeah,
it's a dome, WWE raved about Philadelphia. If it's a dome, WrestleMania could have been back at, Philly, not for 41, but for 42, like with
yeah.
the way they raved about it.
I mean, with how big Mania 40 was in Philly, it could hit the link again in the next couple of years, to be honest. Obviously building a stadium is a little bit of a ways away. They could start building that today. It's going to be a little while. But if they do go that route, I mean, WWE probably puts a bid in for the first year or two, for WrestleMania. And, these stadiums are not just the Eagles Stadium and so on there. Stadiums, there's other events there. 37, WrestleMania 37, there was a little bit of trouble, but it's a fucking miracle that it hasn't rained during a WrestleMania yet outdoors. Like, that's
Yeah,
crazy luck to think.
29
Okay, yeah, 29. Wow,
during the
I
pre-show.
local, but did not go to 29. But yes, yeah, it did rain during the pre-show. Just crazy. And I mean, there's domes all over the country, but if you're gonna have a dome stadium, I do think like the colder states would be the place to do so. It rains a lot in Florida. Don't get me wrong, but like the weather's a bit more maintainable.
The Tampa
Mm,
Mania as well. I mean, it was a half of a crowd, but they had the rain and lightning delay.
yeah,
Um, but Philadelphia with a dome. Who knows? Now SummerSlam's going to these arenas. The Royal Rumble's going into like that opens up so much if Philadelphia has a dome.
listen, I need MetLife to put a fucking dome over that stadium pre SummerSlam because your boy is the opposite of a lizard. I do not do well in the heat, and I might make it through SummerSlam, but I don't know if I'm going to make it Survivor Series or whatever's next after that. That is going to be a rough one. The heat is bad, the cold is bad. Mania 40, I was good. It was cold, but like survived. It wasn't too bad. But we also had like luck of the draw seating up in those nosebleeds. we had the back to our wall. We didn't have the wind coming at us. We had other friends all over the stadium that were absolutely freezing. And I heard it all over, just even Twitter and things like that. I at a point, like, you got to think back to WrestleMania 37. That delay. What if it got worse? What if the weather got worse? What are you gonna cancel WrestleMania and do it next week? Like, it's like a crazy thing to think about, and it's a miracle they haven't had to do that yet.
Yeah, and for certain cities, like no knock on Minnesota, but
Nah, we can knock on Minnesota.
yeah,
Yeah,
knock on
fuck
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah,
Um, the Super Bowl being there isn't it's not as crazy like wrestling with WrestleMania. Minnesota, it's kind of like that's a head
yeah,
scratcher. The Super Bowl makes sense. They go to all different stadiums, even though they repeat. But WrestleMania didn't really feel like that kind of made sense with their layout, with that time of year, you name it.
mm,
And now it seems they're getting some stuff kicked their way with the SummerSlam and stuff to a two-night SummerSlam as well. So, but they would have no shot if they obviously weren't in a dome. WWE would never go there. I mean,
yeah,
maybe a SummerSlam, but at the same time, that city isn't like as riveting. WWE kind of goes to the same like six cities for all these major
yeah,
shows.
yeah. If it's not in Florida or like the Northeast, it's kind of
It's in
Vegas, I guess, is
LA.
around now, but
Yeah.
LA, yeah. Minnesota, as you said, and sorry to all those Minnesotians out there, but it's not that riveting in comparison to some of these other locations. Understandably so. I sit here and I would love Mania to be in Philly or New York every year or something like that. But I'm sick of the Florida WrestleManias. At this point, there's been almost so many of them, just events in general. But I mean, I don't know. They go all over a bit too wrestling. Like the Royal Rumble's the next biggest event, and it was in Indianapolis, which is maybe a little bit more riveting than say Minnesota, but it still doesn't really compare to maybe Philadelphia or LA or Vegas, Florida, all those kind of states.
Yeah, and to be fair, Minneapolis is beautiful the right time of year, which if it's
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
right time of year, no fucking thank you. Same with St. Paul. If it ain't the right time of year, no
Yeah.
fucking thank you. It is too goddamn cold. It is not enjoyable at all. But that's enough stadium talk. Uh, there's plenty of wrestling to get into because there's always a bunch of wrestling to get into. You did a fantastic breakdown of Monday Night Raw. Before Raw, though, we had some news. Some news that you've already divulged into a little bit. But what are the names, Snowden? What are these names?
We got, just like The Rock would do it, Alistair Black, Malachi Black, Miro, Rusev, and Ricky Starks. All free agents cut from their contracts with AEW. It's about fucking time, for at least two of these guys. Rusev's been around, but I don't think people are really like, unfortunately, dying to get Rusev out of his contract as much as they were Ricky Starks. But, these are three great talents that I think have a lot of potential in maybe not just WWE, but, if I'm WWE, putting pen to paper, I'm signing all three of these guys pretty damn quick. I mean, why not? I mean, it's WrestleMania season, so it is tough to like. They can sign all three of these guys today. We might not see any of them until post Mania. It's hard to kind of just throw them into the middle of the mix. But these are three guys that, if you go back and watch my video, which I did post yesterday, broke it down a little bit, I think there's avenues for all three of them in WWE.
Yeah, and there were recently cuts, which
Mm,
obviously, we hope for the best for all of those that were cut. Thankfully, there's multiple avenues. TNA is hotter than ever. AEW is obviously still around. New
yeah.
Japan has picked up steam in the last few months to the last year or two compared to previous years. So there's avenues, thankfully. WWE does go in like a little bit of waves, getting some new talent in, and it does kind of feel like a lot of times people get signed in like bunches.
Yeah.
They may not debut at the same time, but like we recently just had the crop of NXT women signed at the same
Mm,
time. Now you're looking at the free agents. There's these three that you just named. Josh Alexander is also a free agent.
yep.
Those are four big name free agents. Do I expect WWE to land all four? No, not at all. Do I think they'll land two of them? Yeah, I think two
Absolutely.
at the least is a solid bet. One seems to be pretty much happening.
And
The
I
other
think,
one seems to be like it was destined to happen.
yeah, I mean, I gotta assume honestly, I think Alistair and Ricky Starks are locked in, to
Yeah,
come to
those are the two I was referring
WWE.
to.
Yeah, those are almost locks, and I mentioned it a little bit in my video, but Aleister Black's wife's in WWE still. Of course, he probably wants to go back to be with her a bit, and he's still a great wrestler. I'm sure he has some unfinished business there. Ricky Starks, he's got friends in the company. He's been seen backstage, things like that. You can only assume he's on his way. Josh Alexander maybe has a couple more options. Maybe he wants to kind of feel out some other areas, but he also said he's leaving it up to his agents in a way. So he did kind of, it wasn't really a hint, but it did really make it seem like he ain't going to AEW, if I'm being honest, so that only leaves so many places. Rusev is a very interesting name who was honestly maybe the most over guy in WWE at a point with Happy Rusev Day, and then gets out of there, transitions to AEW, has a short stint as a mid card champion, and is gone, forgotten about. Honestly, it is kind of interesting that we haven't. I mean, I'm sure it's out there, but you really don't see the like, where's Rusev talk as much as you would see the where's Ricky Starks talk and things like that. But all three of these guys really, I'm not saying they'll all be WWE champion or anything, but they all got really untapped potential still.
Yeah, and I do think that Rusev talk, Miro talk did happen at one point, more
Yeah.
so when like him, Powerhouse Hobbs, Wardlow, like kind of all weren't on TV at the same time. I think Andrade maybe was in that mix.
Mm.
And then he kind of just like
Let
became
me
like,
hit you with something real quick. Okay. This is a little mind blowing because you name drop Andrade. This threw me for a loop. Andrade's last AEW match and Rusev's last AEW match is their match at World's End. Isn't that kind of
yes.
crazy? Like, that's nuts. Like, Rusev, I think, went through some stuff. Him and Lana are no longer together, right? If I'm correct. So, like, maybe there was outside reasons as to why he wasn't super involved. That was a long fucking time ago.
Yeah,
It's
and we
crazy.
also knew that was the end for Andrade.
Andrade, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So that makes it even weirder that they did that story and then poof.
Nothing out of Rusev. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I completely forgot what I was mentioning for Miro was he's kind of gone like out of sight, out of mind. It to be honest, until I saw that report, I hadn't thought about Miro in forever. I was
Been a
like,
long
oh
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot all about Miro. Like, where the hell has he been? What the hell is he up to? Who knows if he even still wants to wrestle? Like
Yeah.
that's how long it's been. It would be great. I don't want to hop on to like what we as fans do. No matter once one person leaves, we can do it the flip. Cedric Alexander gets released, we're immediately like, well, AEW's got to sign him. He's got to get in the
Yeah.
Hurt business, whatever, Hurt Syndicate, whatever they're called. Get him over there, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like the same thing. It is a little different with this crop, just mainly the two of Alistair and Ricky Starks, because it feels
Mm.
like there's already been the rumors that seem to be kind of concrete. But I do want to hit you with this. Seems we could expect those two
Mm.
to sign. AEW lets those three guys go. Who knows? Hell, Miro's contract could have expired for all we know. We know Alistair's ran up. Ricky seems to be a parting of ways. What do you think Ray Phoenix is thinking?
It's funny you bring him up because I was actually just about to bring up Ray Phoenix. And just in the sense, too, that like we got these four guys with Josh Alexander. And then there's Ray Phoenix who could be gone. Who knows when, really? They might have extended his contract out the ass. I don't know. You know, Miro kept quiet. Ricky Starks kept quietish. Alistair Black kept very quiet on anything they all had going on within AEW. Phoenix is not. Phoenix has made it a point that there's more that people need to know, kind of. And, who knows where it goes, what he comes out with and says once he is maybe out of his AEW contract. But it's been made a point of like untreated fairly. And as I'm kind of saying this, I think back to Rusev honestly having some similar statements, actually. Those kind of, because he has been a little bit forgotten, I'm now remembering he put out some tweets and had some liked tweets, just things like that that are a little bit evident.
Donations to GoFundMe's?
Donations, yes, yeah. A little bit evident of maybe, I don't want to say misconduct in AEW, but, some untreated or not fairly treated wrestlers, perhaps. And listen, they're not the only wrestlers that were untreated fairly in any company ever. It happens all the time, I'm sure, to a degree. Some people maybe just feel they're being untreated fairly too when they're really not. But it is pretty evident. And again, this is not to like shit on AEW, but it is pretty evident that AEW has not handled a lot of talent well at all. And I did say on my video yesterday that that roster from the beginning has been stacked. Like, we are truthers here. We're never going to go away from facts. AEW's roster from the beginning has been incredible, and it only increased at a point. It got even better as time went on. And there's still so many guys. I'm going to drop another AEW name. Where the fuck is Wardlow?
I think he's
Like,
hurt.
is
He's
he
hurt.
okay? All right,
Yeah.
maybe I'm missing that there with Wardlow. But like, where was Wardlow at least then? You know, they brought him back for a small moment there. Maybe then he did get hurt, but like, there's just so much up and coming talent that they're missing the ball with. And then there's guys like Rusev and Alistair, Andrade, all these former WWE guys that go over. And I'm kind of in the same boat right now with like a Bobby Lashley, where Bobby Lashley, hell, maybe he's AEW champion one day. I have no idea. But like, it really is the same spree that WWE went in pre AEW existing of let's sign everybody so no one else can sign. We have no plans, no concrete plans, but I want this wrestler to be employed by me in case I want to use them this week. And that really is starting to come to fruition that that's really like the AEW strategy. And it's not working out. I mentioned again in my video yesterday, Ricky Stark's the most prominent name in this conversation. Holding him back and not just letting him go when you weren't using him, it makes that WWE debut way bigger, way more triumphant.
Yeah, and WWE obviously had their releases. Um, so not
Yeah, it happens. Now, let
yeah,
me listen. Let
not
me
foreign
rant.
to either side.
Yeah, it's not for on either side. I do want to rant on the releases a little bit, though, okay? Where some of these wrestlers, Aleister Black got out of his contract. He let his time run. You know, that's the release. It's fine. Ricky Starks wanted out. They held him back. Ray Phoenix, they're adding time on. Who's to say what's right or wrong? I understand both sides of it to a point. I cannot stand the revisionist history amongst most wrestling fans where, listen, Chase U was great. I liked Duke Hudson. They were a great tag team with maybe some potential there. I don't know if Duke Hudson was ever going to be a WWE champion. Would I have liked him to still be in the company and maybe they do something? Sure. He was entertaining. Why not? But they have to make cuts here or there. Cedric's been around for a while. They cut him after what, 8, 9 years. Electra Lopez gets, released, who hasn't really done a whole lot. Maybe there's an argument there that Electra Lopez maybe didn't get the most chances in the world as one of the random names that's been released. Or maybe she didn't have it like some of these others have it. Who am I to say? I don't know. But all the online wrestling fans, the community, acting as if they just released John Cena from his fucking contract is asinine. Like, it's a company. People get fired from regular jobs. It's going to happen. They did not release anybody of such a stature that is like, go cry on Twitter about it, if I'm being honest.
There will be one that I cry over, and it's not just the release, and I do know you'll agree. When wrestlers get released, we don't wish these things. You don't want anyone to lose their job.
Mm-hmm.
But we normally look at like what have they done? What are they doing? What could be the reason? You name it. Is this wasted talent? Was this never going to work out? Yada yada. I think to some releases like when Bray Wyatt got released or Nick Nemeth got released, and
Mm-hmm.
our immediate thought is like, "What? This is astonishing!" Or Braun Strowman, like it's so surprising. And then as time goes on, you hear some news like, "Oh, they were on this contract. They or this person actually wanted out, and it was kind of mutual. Whatever." The one though that feels we were always on it in it didn't feel like it made sense at the time and then history has kind of been on it. I need more information. I need more factual information, not just rumors. What the hell went wrong with Giovanni Vinci?
Yes, that is the most prominent name. And it's not even necessarily what went wrong with like the release, but what went wrong backstage with the politics of it all and everything. Because Giovanni Vinci, man, talent through the roof. Now, maybe not the most prominent mic guy. Didn't really have a lot of time on the mic, though. When you're paired up with Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser, who are both maybe two of the best mic workers in the company right now. I can see why maybe Vinci was a little bit on the back burner and holding that microphone. In ring talent, unreal though. Imperium, an incredible stable faction, whatever you want to call it. Still very upset that they broke up Imperium because they didn't have to do that. Ludwig and Vinci with the tag titles, and then Gunther with the world title. Come on, that like writes itself in my opinion. So that is very baffling. Who knows? This is all me just thinking, but there had to be some sort of higher power that had it out for Vinci. Wasn't a fan. I seen rumors. This is all rumors. I don't think there's even truth to this, to be honest, because who knows nowadays with the dirt sheets. We've said this before, but if it really doesn't come from Sean Ross Sapp, then it's not credible at all, in all honesty. But I seen, like Triple H wasn't the biggest Duke Hudson guy. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. I have no idea. But, there's no real way to say if he was or wasn't. Duke Hudson's a guy, though, that had a short main roster stint, actually, during that COVID era. Did Duke Hudson get like a pay raise to go to the main roster and then keeps that pay? And now he's a great talent. I want him to make all the money in the world. But is he being overpaid to be an NXT talent and he's a more reasonable cut than somebody else? I really don't know. Vinci, though, is a little bit surprising. He seems to be in good graces, though. He put out like a tweet thanking WWE and everything like that. I imagine we'll see him around somewhere soon. I don't really know what company he fits in the most to, if I'm being honest. He's maybe one of those guys that, yeah, where's that?
I said when I found out, if 91 days from now he doesn't absolutely laugh at Joe Hendry and call him a goof
Yeah.
and challenge him for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, I will be very upset.
That's TNA is obviously like the company I would want really any of these people to go to. But I've seen everybody tweet out, oh my God, TNA can use this, use her, use him. And yeah, they absolutely could. Sure, their women's division could maybe use a couple women. Don't get me wrong. Blair Davenport is somebody that maybe wasn't used prominently enough and maybe wasn't given the spotlight to shine. We didn't see it though. So like, I don't really think we're missing out by not having Blair Davenport right now, if I'm being honest. Maybe I'd be proven wrong if she was given that sort of stint. Great talent for TNA, perhaps. I don't think TNA has it in them to sign all 10 released talents though, so if I had to pick out of the crop, Cedric to AEW, to me, in all honesty, like just recycling the Hurt Business does nothing for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like that is just like a washed up WWE idea that doesn't really draw me into AEW.
But it seems to be like what they're gonna do.
Exactly. It seems to be like what they're gonna do. I was gonna say I'd maybe more rather see him in TNA, but like I just don't predict it. Vinci to TNA could be great. That might be what a guy like Giovanni Vinci needs to, not that he'll ever come back, but maybe to get that call from our boy. He calls us all the time. Triple H calls C2 Wrestling. Maybe he'll call Giovanni Vinci back one day.
Yeah. And as I mentioned before, we don't know. Maybe someone was unhappy. Maybe someone requested it. Maybe there was a falling out. In Corbin's situation, maybe just one person doesn't like them.
Yeah. That's maybe the most baffling release in a while is Baron Corbin.
That one hurts.
That one hurts. I actually
hurts the pod. Just
love you, Baron.
Sorry about that L though, pal. Hold it, baby. Go Birds.
Yeah.
No, but obviously you hope all of them land on their feet, and wrestling kind of goes in waves. Now there's a strong crop of 15 or so new free agents from the two top companies, and we'll start seeing where they start showing up. And who knows, maybe they go the Bishop route of wanting to appear on multiple companies. Maybe they'll tie down to one of them. Who knows? As wrestling fans, though, if you're truly a fan of these people, as you mentioned, people complain on Twitter no matter what.
Yeah.
But if you're truly a fan, guess what? In the world of 2025, you still can find their matches.
Yep.
Even if they're wrestling, I get all the time the most random indie company with 5 views on their show popping up in my YouTube recommendation. Like, even if they're just working the most random indie shows, something's going to come up and you'll see their matches, or They'll get a shot in MLW or TNA or AEW or WWE. Like, if these people keep wrestling, it's 2025. You'll still see them. If you are a fan, don't worry. You'll still get to see them do their work.
Yeah, they will be around. You know, you can follow these wrestlers individually nowadays without having to follow a particular company. You know, you can still get all of their matches, everything they're doing. A lot of talent released. You know, this happens every year though, and people just act so surprised when it happens. And yeah, you're right. Over time, there's been bigger cuts. Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, those came at interesting times within the world, so it's a little bit
Yeah.
different with that COVID era. But it's just is what it is. You know, I again would love to see Giovanni Vinci maybe get that character redone and have some sort of value to him, but it just didn't happen. It's unfortunate he's gone. You know, if you were to tell me the day prior to those releases, like, hey, WWE's releasing 10 wrestlers right now, who do you think they're going to be? I probably would have said Giovanni Vinci. You know, I don't want it, but it fits the bill of who's going to get cut. People seem to be very surprised at the women that were released. You know, Isla Dawn released another one that was in a tag team. I see a lot of like, oh, they just brought in these mid card titles too. Oh my God. Like, guys, the roster is still deeper than ever. Like they released six people, not 60 people. They released like six women or something. Like it's, I get it. You might have been a fan of this person, but what else do you want? Like when Julia comes up and wins the women's championship, I don't think you're going to be thinking about Blair Davenport and how she had a chance. Like you're going to be thinking about how great Julia is and how she just won the women's championship. Like there's other avenues, there's other great talent. It's okay. These things happen.
That Isla Dawn release, though, that does hurt me. That hurts me big time. That's probably like a peg below Giovanni Vinci.
Yeah.
I saw that. I saw her and Electra Lopez, and I shed a gangster tear. House.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it is. Isla Dawn, I thought was good too. You know, Electra Lopez, there's nothing against her. You know, it's just, you know, they weren't maybe used in the most prominent ways. And I think they see we don't work there. You know, we don't see these people day in and day out. Maybe, yeah, you know, maybe there's a reason they kept Alba Fire and not Isla Dawn. Maybe they see a little bit more potential there with Alba Fire. I would really like them to get rid of her name and change it back to like Kaylee Ray or something because I can't stand that name, Alba Fire. But you know, they make these decisions for reasons, and it's okay. I do want to get back to the newer free agents, though. I want to bring up one person in particular, and I don't. You've been very busy, so I don't know if you were able to check out my video of the releases, the free agents. But I want to talk about Rusev a little bit and how I think Rusev is the perfect name to go to NXT.
I hear you. That is big time fantasy booking.
Yes, it is. But, you know, it's just Josh Alexander, like, discluding him from these three because he's quit TNA a few weeks ago, whatever, you know, he seems NXT bound if he goes to WWE. And that's a great name for that men's division there right now. You know, you need another guy down there. You got, oh, but you got Trick, Tony D. I get it. You got some talent, but you need another big name down there. Ethan Page seems like he's maybe going to come up at a point. Ricky Starks has got to be main roster bound. You know, he has to be, right? There's almost no way that I feel
I
like
mean,
his
you say that, but like,
he has similar, and I talk about this in the clip in the video. He has similar potential and star power right now to Penta, in my opinion. Where, again, not that it's all AEW's fault for holding them back, but that structure of doing so has made them bigger wrestlers, honestly. And I think with the right presentation, Ricky Starks can be kind of made out to have this kind of build like Penta does. Aleister Black had a stint already. He seems destined, if he comes back, to go to the main roster. Three women come in and go to NXT. You know, they weren't maybe the household names that are Rusev, Aleister, and potentially Ricky Starks. You stacked up that
fourth
woman
now as well.
yeah, correct. Yeah. You stack up that NXT women's roster. I feel like you gotta give the men somebody down there.
The reason why I don't see it happening is what you mentioned before. You know,
Happy Rusev Day.
well, no, he ain't making peanuts.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah,
gonna,
yeah.
our handsome Rusev is gonna want a handsome contract, and they ain't gonna pay him all that money to be in NXT. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. And I do envision it in like a smaller stint. It could be like a Dolph Ziggler type NXT stint, a month or two thing down there, just put over a talent, maybe come back up. It's almost a shame it wasn't a month ago. I feel like this is maybe why they kind of waited so that WWE couldn't drop these guys at the Royal Rumble. But man, Rusev Machka hitting at the Royal Rumble would have went hard. That would have been a crazy return. He's got all the reasons to go to the main roster too. Don't get me wrong. I just think he could be a really good enhancement talent down there for a bit.
Man, if he hears that, he's going to tell you, fuck off. You want me to make less money and be an enhancement talent?
Well,
It's
listen,
especially with the
enhancement
rumors of
talents.
him in NXT, him in AEW didn't want to put anybody over.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah, that
think the
is
last
true.
thing
Yeah,
he's going to want is to make less money and put
I
even
mean,
newer
hey,
guys over.
with a guy like Oba, probably comes up in a bit of time for the main roster, and then you need like a big guy down there to be like maybe the heel and hold the NXT championship. Not saying he's going to go down there and just lose to Javon Evans every week, but maybe there's potential there for Rusev. Again, though, he was so big at a point on the main roster that I can't deny them re-debuting him on SmackDown or Raw or something like that. I just feel with all this crop of talent that's getting released, NXT needs somebody.
Yeah, they need if WWE released all those talent because they knew all these contracts were ending or whatever, and we're getting this new crop in. They obviously have a plan of this one's going to this brand, this one's going to this brand, whatever you name it. Speaking of brands, though, Monday Night Raw brand.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm not going to get into the annoying people on Twitter because
Mm-hmm.
people just don't. They just don't get it.
They
They
don't get
just
it. They don't
don't
get
get
it.
it. They just don't get it. There is an annoyance, but on Raw, Rhea Ripley sets up a match, her versus Io Sky at the Raw after the Elimination Chamber, which interesting. They don't just wrestle on Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little interesting nugget. You mentioned it before we came on that you had strong speculation as to why it is happening there.
Yes. Now, a day after Elimination Chamber, that would mean a woman is going to win the Elimination Chamber the day prior, 2 days prior, whatever it is. And that match is shaping up a little bit. Bailey just got added. I don't know who's going to win the women's chamber. It's almost a little bit easier to predict the men's, but it's leading me to believe whoever wins the women's chamber maybe interferes on Raw the next day. Something screws EO. I don't know. Something's going to happen that makes it a multi-woman title match at WrestleMania. And I do think that's the right move this year around, especially for Rhea, who's had a few single matches at WrestleMania over the years, won a title, defended this, whatever she's done. How do you switch it up a little bit? The Liv feud ended. She doesn't have some like blood feud right now that you can ride out another month and have culminate at Mania. So you only have a month and a half roughly to kind of build up a big Mania feud. And I don't know if they can really, really do that right now. So the other route was a multi-woman match. I like to think Liv is going to win the chamber, which I don't want. I want Liv and Rhea as far away as possible for a little bit of time now. EO, I'm on record. I've said this before. I think in the ring, EO is the best wrestler, women's wrestler in the company for sure. I think she's fantastic. Don't want to get into all the Twitter hate too, but like if you can't map out the story, you just don't get it. You don't see where they're going. It's the same as our boy on SmackDown, Carmelo Hayes. There's a bigger story they got planned. If you're watching week in and week out, you see what they're doing and you get it. They're clearly leading somewhere with EO and Rhea. Why in the world would they have EO face Rhea for the title? Whether there's an interference or not, and then EO's not going to face her Mania, it just doesn't really add up. EO, Rhea, Liv, Raquel. Does Raquel get in the match? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a triple threat. I don't know. I really don't know how many participants they'll add, but I'm led to believe it's not going to be a singles match.
There is one person that can add
Me?
you.
Yeah.
Uh, I think the reason this could be a multi-woman match is because essentially Rhea has faced all of the people that would be in this match.
Yes. Yep.
She would have just faced Io. However, that finish goes. Obviously, Io wouldn't win the title, but maybe Liv gets involved, whatever. With Io just pinning Liv on Raw this past Monday, adds fuel to that fire as well, that there's animosity between them. Rhea isn't going to face Liv one on one, obviously. Could definitely see Liv winning the chamber. Could absolutely see a certain someone being the fourth.
Nia Jax.
Not who I was
No,
talking
I
about.
have no idea. Honestly, that's just the first name that came to my mind. Who would be the fourth?
Time. I'm at the point
Oh
now where
God.
we're getting her return one of two ways.
Mm,
She's getting put into a multi-woman, actually one of three ways. Nah, more so one of two. Getting put into a multi-woman title match
yeah,
because she's not going to face. It seems Charlotte's going to face Tiffany. She's not going to
yeah,
face Rhea one on one. At least we wouldn't expect. They just faced last year. Kind of weird to run that back one on one this kind of quick. Her in a multi-woman match would make sense. The only other way I see her returning is a Raw after Mania surprise. But at the same time, unless she's filming something and she's busy, why wouldn't you have her at WrestleMania? Why would you have her
yeah.
after?
Hmm.
I would assume, it's not like she's injured. I would assume she's big enough of one of the women's names that she would just get inserted into one of these women's matches. But at the same time, I say that and then I start thinking like, well, on the SmackDown side, there's so many women that have to get in that maybe Becky would be the Raw after Mania just because it's easier than shoehorning her into a match because you have so many names you need to get on these cards.
Yeah, especially with these women's mid card titles now. I'll say, I do think the Becky return happens one way, and it's me in the other room. That's how it happens. I
Absence
am,
makes the heart grow fonder. Come
yeah,
on, man.
yeah, yeah. Maybe there's a second way, and it's me with my eyes closed or something. I don't know, but I am. I'm over the Becky Lynch train. I'm not a fan. I just don't care. I really don't, if I'm being honest. I'm sure there's flack out there for me on that one, but listen, Becky's guaranteed to return at some point, but like I honestly don't need Becky back. I don't think Becky's really bringing much back to the division, especially right now when there are so many other women out there. Even with these mid card titles and whatnot. Chelsea Green is not going to be U.S. champion forever, I'm sure. But whenever she loses that title, maybe there's another level she can step up. Becky Lynch, Rhea, Charlotte, those are like the tops right now and they can always be used to kind of help those people propel themselves. And Becky Lynch could do that too. Don't get me wrong, but I've run my course with Becky Lynch. I don't particularly need her at this WrestleMania, to be honest. I think her return is a little. If it wasn't the Rumble, I do think that pushes it to post Mania.
You know who should be in this match, right?
Not Nikki Bella, no.
Yes, she should, baby. Get her in. Get her
I
in.
mean, if you want to have a good wrestling match, then not Nikki Bella.
You're, that is Super Bowl champion fan, Nikki Bella. Get it right.
Oh God, yeah. Listen, Nikki Bella is another one that like I've just never been on board with. Like, listen, like Nikki Bella was right at the Bellas, I should say, right place, right timing. I've always felt, like more power to you, good for them. Name me one Nikki Bella spot that you remember. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the dance when she comes out. Of course. Name me one
That
match that you
spot's
remember.
good
Like that's
enough.
just I don't know. On the mic, they're like cringe level, like of Natalia to me. Like all three of them. It's like I don't know. Like I'm just not a fan. Can't get on board with it.
Anytime I mention my love for Nikki Bella and you dismiss it, it just reminds me of the scene from Tough Enough. What is Cameron, was that her name? Why can't I think of
Yeah,
her
yeah.
name?
When Melina
When
versus
yeah,
Alicia Fox.
Melina
Yeah,
versus Alicia Fox on Monday Night Raw and Stone Cold's like,
he's Stone Cold. That's like a meme now. Is
yeah.
Stone Cold throwing his hands up? I mean,
That's I'm Cameron like I love Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella should just beat Rhea Ripley straight up and you're Stone Cold.
yeah, yeah. Listen, Cameron. You got to do better than fucking Melina versus Alicia Fox. That is baffling, to be honest. Stone Cold, I can't even imagine being Stone Cold in that moment. Like, what the fuck did you just tell me? Like, are you kidding? Do you watch wrestling? Like, that is just
Oh my
baffling stuff.
God.
But, listen, not to disrespect anybody, but Cameron was never good either, in my opinion, But, like, you can probably guess that she wasn't going to be that great based on that. But I don't know. Nikki Bella has star power. Don't get me wrong. Like, I get it. Becky Lynch has star power too. Don't get me wrong. I get it to a degree, but it's just tiresome. Over it.
Speaking of stars from Monday Night Raw, we'll wrap things up here. Honoring our star, honoring our world heavyweight champion,
The ring general, Gunther.
they made it
Our boy.
official. Gunther versus Jey Uso. Um, I mean, at this point, like, would be absolutely stunning if Gunther retained. Like, I'm talking,
Yeah.
my jaw would dislocate and
Yeah.
fracture as it hits the ground type stunning.
Yeah.
To me, again, I don't care about the Twitter dorks. It is a vocal minority.
Mm.
It has kind of set up for no matter what, they're going to complain because either Gunther wins and they complain, oh my God, you did all of this just for Gunther to win again, or Jay wins and they try to rewrite history saying this was the most predictable thing ever, as if they expected Jay to win as they cried when Cena lost to
Yeah.
Jay and C2 Wrestling was right.
Again.
Yeah. But one thing, there loved the segment on Raw that opened Raw.
Fantastic.
I know you touched on these things that we're discussing. I was traveling here to Montreal to hang out with Sami Zayn as he nurses his injuries. I did have one thought though that came from the segment, and it's not as much a thought and more so a need. Maybe not next week, maybe not the week after that, but in the near future, I need Jey Uso a bloody mess.
Yes. I don't want to guarantee it, but I definitely see that happening at a point. It is middle of February. We have a month, 2 months till WrestleMania. You got whatever, 10, 12 weeks of TV before WrestleMania, between a couple shows. They're probably only prominent on Raw now, don't get me wrong, but you have a long way to go to continue booking Jay Gunther. And we said it last week. I want Gunther to kick the shit out of Jay every week on TV. That segment we got today, one up it a little bit every week, and I'm happy. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think they'll do who knows what avenues. Ludwig Kaiser gets involved here and there. I'm sure we'll get a Ludwig versus Jay match main event on Monday Night Raw at some point. But I almost need, not to copycat it off last year, but I almost need Gunther being the Rock and pouring, it was pouring rain, dragging Jay out just like Cody into the pouring rain. Throw him into the bus, do whatever, bloody mess, throw him over the barricade this time. Who knows, I need something big to not only like put Jay over a little bit more as everybody wants. Oh my God, I want him to win, especially the kids. Like, if you don't think that's why they're doing this for Jay, again, you just don't get it. But it almost puts Gunther on like another level of heel, and that's what I want. I want Gunther to be this like, don't touch me heel, which I also got to bring up. Gunther dissing that chick on LFG in that little promo. Oh, man, that's our boy. That's our boy right there. Nobody wants a Barbie. All right.
Him just like, don't care. How can you not look?
Him doing the little mocking voice.
Yeah, I'll respond to what you mentioned about Jay.
Yeah.
In a second. How can you not watch that? Watch him whipping the jacket into the crowd. Watch him. Like, how do you not watch all these things and be like, this guy's the fucking GOAT?
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
Best.
He's the GOAT. And, he's got a decent amount of time left. This guy can go another 10 years for all we know. 10 years plus. A lot of these guys, Rey Mysterio's 50 or whatever he is. These guys can go for a while now. We still have so much left of Gunther. When he's said and done, he is in your GOAT conversation. I'm not saying he better be. He is in your GOAT conversation. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not, this is not, oh, well, this guy won 8 championships and he only finished with three. No,
Mm-mm.
we will not let hindsight ruin this man. We will not let anyone try to slander the name.
No revisionist history here.
Absolutely not. You watch, like, I watch him and I'm like, how could anyone not think that, like, don't get me wrong, this is not a knock on the rest of the talent because we know how incredible all these people are
Yeah.
throughout all companies. But Gunther, I watch him like this guy is it. Like this guy is
Yep.
the money guy. Like he is
Yeah.
the GOAT.
I've said it before. He is the wrestler's wrestler to me.
Yes.
Like that is the most perfect professional wrestler from head to toe. Gimmick in the ring, mic skills, ability, and one thing he does similarly to, maybe not to the level, but similar to the Undertaker, is like he is his gimmick. I feel, like, and that really hones in the craft a little bit. Undertaker riding that gimmick out as if he was the Undertaker, in and out of wrestling forever. When he was on TV, it was polarizing, and Gunther is in that same level. It's polarizing to watch him, even from just a segment on Raw where he beat the shit out of Jay to a promo to a full blown match. The guy's the fucking goat, man.
Yeah. Like you don't see him at these meet and greets. You don't see him at the
Mm-hmm.
photo ops. As much as we need, one day there will be that picture of Gunther standing in the middle and both of us, one on each side, just
Can't wait. I can't
can't
wait.
can't wait for that. But to go back to the Gunther J topic, I should have rephrased what I said that I need Jay bloody. I need Jay bloody, and then a week or two later, I need him bloody again. I need like the double down on it. Like Gunther beats him so bad, and Jay is somehow still showing up at Raw and still looking for that fight, but he is so broken, he is so beat up that he really is nowhere near 100%. And Gunther again just gives him that same exact beatdown, and he looks worse now. Like, we know this is leading to the ultimate payoff for Jay, and it is much deserved. But man, let's continue with Gunther being like, this guy is not on my level, and I'm going to make him pay for choosing me and my title for thinking that he can beat me. I get Jay getting the little bit of offense for when Gunther, did the sneak attack and they had to confirm the match, whatever. But now I need, look, I don't know the exact day. Say Mania is 10 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
I need 7 weeks of Gunther beating the shit out of Jay, 2 weeks of Jay being off TV because he's been beaten so bad, and 1 week of the final promo from both of them. Like,
You
that's
know,
my 10 weeks.
talking about it, right now, it just makes me envision like the possibilities. And I absolutely can see a world and want it where, Gunther does beat Jay down worse than he did on Monday Night Raw, make him bloody, pulverize the guy, make him so bad that he's off TV the next week or two. And then I would love to see Gunther's out in the ring, cutting a promo. It's been 2 weeks. Jay returns, comes out of nowhere, runs through the crowd, attacks Gunther. But Gunther hits the reverse, power bombs Jay in the ring. Jay's laid flat. Gunther looks in the camera, just like Jay's been doing. Let's run it back.
Yeah, yeah,
Make him bloody again. Beat the
yeah.
shit out of him yet again. And then he's off TV for another week or two. Maybe gets that 1 weekend of, oh my God, he's back. He had the upper hand that final week. And then it's WrestleMania, baby.
Yeah, I love the run it back idea. I
Yeah,
love
yeah. That's great. That is great.
Gunther
They're looking in
trolling.
the camera and be
Yeah,
like, oh, I was right.
run it back.
Because I gotta say too, listen, it's only been a couple weeks, but them having Jay come out through the crowd has been fantastic. One of the best entrance choices in a long time. And then him getting the kids onto the stands and doing the yeet is great. Him getting in the ring, especially that first Monday after the Royal Rumble, looking in the camera and doing it over again. Dude, the pop is unreal. It's great stuff. It's great stuff. So you got to play off that a little bit.
Yeah, it's something that like I don't know if this would get old. Like it's not,
No.
the crowd is so into it that honestly, Gunther's first attack should probably be when Jay is standing there and does the should we run it back? Should we run it back? And Gunther just attacks him from behind before they're able to run it back again. Like
Better
similar.
yet, attack him on the stairs when he's eating.
Yeah,
When he's coming down
exactly.
to the ring and he's doing
Yeah,
it with the fans, have Gunther come up behind him into a sleeper, into a rear
yeah.
naked, you know?
Or here we go. Here now we're spitballing.
Mm-hmm.
The little intro.
Oh, hold on. Triple H
All
is
the
calling. He wants to hear
yeah
this. Hold on.
yeah. Put them on speaker. When
Yeah.
all the fans have created that tunnel
Yes. Yep.
for Jay, he's going, he's walking, he's doing the clap, and he does the hit my music.
Uh-huh.
Before they even get there, Gunther is in the back of the crowd of fans, hooded up, covered up, comes from behind, starts choking him out, and starts attacking him right there before he even gets to the stands,
Yeah.
before they can even start eating, because that's what a true heel would do. You think you're about to get it. No, you're not even getting that far. I'm not even giving you the 3 minutes of fun and joy. I'm taking it
So
away
good.
from you before you can even get to it.
I can envision too. They love, and it's been great, these over the shoulder shots lately. And I can see Jay like hit my music, but over his shoulder in the distance is Gunther. Maybe he borrows a hoodie from Solo Sokoa or something. Who knows?
Have him be the cameraman. Have him
Yeah,
be
have
like a
him. Yeah.
backside cameraman, HBK style when he
And then
attacked Angle.
yes, and then I love to see it. You can't do it every week, but him, beating the shit out of Jay, not in the ring, not backstage, but literally in front of the fans, buy the merch, throw him over the merch table, make him hire us, WWE.
Yeah. That's going to go into a voice memo for trips in our group chat, and expect to see that on a Raw in the near future, and also expect to see us with more videos, with more podcasts. We've got videos dropping out the wazoo. We've got podcasts dropping every single week. We're on the road to WrestleMania. WWE's giving us all the road to WrestleMania. This is the C2 road to WrestleMania.
Absolutely. And listen, these roads connect. These highways are right next to each other. We're going to be here for the long haul. So much great content coming out, so many great ideas. If you want to find out what they are, if you want to figure it all out, you got to stay subscribed. You got to have those notifications on. Follow us on the social media. If Twitter can stop banning us a little bit, stop putting labels on us for nothing,
Yeah.
maybe we'll gain a little bit more traction there. But stay in tune with C2 Wrestling. Another great podcast in the books. We'll be seeing you guys shortly.
Fly, Eagles, fly.